The highway stretched into the fog like a ribbon of forgotten dreams. Swallowed by the Midwest dusk, Sam Bennett's semi-truck growled through the mist, its headlights slicing the gloom, the only sound the faint twang of Springsteen crackling through his radio. Then, a shadow caught his eye, a girl, barely more than a ghost, standing barefoot on the rain-soaked shoulder. Her wedding dress hung in tatters, streaked with mud, and her trembling hands clutched a bloodied veil wrapped tight around something small, something that glinted with danger. He stopped for a runaway bride. The narrator's voice rumbled, low and urgent, clutching a secret men would kill for. Saving her might be his last chance to save himself. Sam eased off the gas, his daughter's photo swaying on the dash, her absence a fist around his heart, those eyes wild, defiant locked onto his. This wasn't just a rescue. Sam Bennett's rig was his fortress, a rumbling sanctuary of worn leather and bitter coffee that had carried him through 20 years of long hauls. At 46, he was a man shaped by the road calluses on his hands, creases in his brow, and a heart weighed down by regrets he couldn't outrun. Taped to the dash was a faded photo of his daughter, Lily, her 10-year-old smile frozen in time. Now 19, she was a ghost in his life, her silence a punishment Sam knew he'd earned. He'd been gone too often, chasing deadlines across state lines while Lily grew up without him, birthdays, school recitals, the small stitches of a father's love, he'd missed them all. The real wound was 3 years ago. When Lily was 16, she'd been caught shoplifting. A desperate act after bullies at school tore her confidence to shreds. It was a cry for help, and she needed Sam at her court date, where a judge would decide if she'd face juvenile probation. Sam, stuck on a run in Nevada, swore he'd make it home, but a late truck payment loomed, and he picked up an extra haul to cover it, leaving his ex-wife, Karen, to stand alone in court. Lily got probation, but her trust in Sam didn't survive. She stopped answering his calls, ignored his letters. Karen's parting shot still echoed. "You chose the road over your daughter." Sam didn't fight it. He hadn't just failed Lily, had broken something he wasn't sure he could fix. The Nebraska highway was a slick ribbon of rain and fog that night, the wipers slapping a steady rhythm against the windshield. Sam sipped coffee, gone cold, the radio sputtering Merle Haggard between bursts of static, miles from anywhere, his headlights snagged on a figure by the roadside, small and trembling. He eased off the gas, squinting through the drizzle. It was a girl, early 20s, standing barefoot in the mud. Her wedding dress, once white, now a mess of rips and dirt, clung to her like a bad memory. Dark hair plastered her face, and her arms clutched a crumpled veil, streaked with blood and wrapped tight around something small, something that caught the light with a metallic glint. Her eyes were wide, raw, scanning the shadows like she was waiting for the world to come for her. Sam's first instinct was to keep driving. The road taught you that strangers meant trouble, from scams to knives in the dark. But those eyes, hollow and fierce, stopped seeing him cold. They were Lily's eyes, the last time she looked at him before shutting him out forever. He pulled the rig onto the shoulder, tires grinding gravel, and stepped into the rain, his boots splashing in a puddle. "You okay?" Kitty called, voice rough but careful, hands raised to show he wasn't a threat. The girl flinched, a sharp gasp breaking the silence, but she didn't bolt. Up close, Sam saw the bruise on her wrist, a handprint, fresh and angry, like someone had tried to yank her back to hell. She gripped the veil tighter, knuckles bone white, and whispered, "I can't stay here." Sam's radio crackled, louder now. A news bulletin slicing through missing bride, early 20s, last seen in a white dress, suspected theft of valuable property. The girl's gaze snapped to the cab, panic flaring like a cornered animal's. Sam leaned in and killed the radio, his pulse kicking up. Theft. That veil. The way she held it like a grenade. Something was wrong. Something big. "You need a ride?" he asked, keeping his tone even. She nodded, slow and shaky, like she was betting her life on a coin toss. Sam opened the passenger door, helping her scramble in. She curled against the seat, shivering, the veil still clutched like it was all she had left. Sam slid behind the wheel, glancing at Lily's photo. "I let you down, kid," he thought. Not this time. The engine roared, and they vanished into the rain, the night swallowing them whole. The rain battered the windshield like a boxer working a speed bag, but Sam Bennett kept his eyes on the road, the hum of the engine steadying his nerves. Inside the cab, the air was thick with the smell of wet flannel and the faint tang of mud from the girl's tattered dress. Ellie, she hadn't given her name yet, sat curled against the passenger door, her bare feet tucked under her, the blood-streaked veil still clutched in her lap like a loaded gun. Sam stole a glance at her, then at Lily's photo on the dash. Her 10-year-old smile, a ghost that haunted him. He'd failed his daughter, left her to face a courtroom alone when she needed him most. That shoplifting bust 3 years ago wasn't just a mistake, it was a betrayal. One Lily hadn't forgiven. Sam's chest tightened. This girl, shivering and scared, felt like a second chance, a shot to do right by someone who looked as lost as Lily had. He cranked the heater, the warm air hissing through the vents. "You're gonna catch pneumonia in that dress, kid," he said, voice gruff but kind, tossing her a spare flannel from behind the seat. Ellie caught it, her fingers trembling, and draped it over her shoulders, the oversized fabric swallowing her thin frame. "Thanks," she mumbled, her first word since climbing in, barely audible over the rain. Sam nodded, keeping it light. This rig's seen worse than mud. "Got a name?" She hesitated, eyes flicking to the veil, then back to him. "Ellie," she said, voice cracked but firm. Sam cracked a half smile. "Sam, nice to meet you." "Ellie." She didn't smile back, but her shoulders eased a fraction, like she was testing the idea of trust. He flipped the radio to a classic rock station. Springsteen's Born to Run, cutting through the tension. "Better than that pop junk." "Right," he teased, hoping to coax her out. Ellie's lips twitched, a ghost of a smirk. "Older than my grandma," she shot back, her voice still shaky but sharp, like a blade peeking through a sheath. Sam chuckled, surprised by her spark. Grandma's got taste. Then he handed her the radio dial. A small gesture. "Pick something." She took it, her fingers brushing his, and spun through station static, country, a preacher yelling about salvation before settling on Tom Petty. Sam nodded approval. For a moment, the cab felt like a bubble, safe from whatever hunted her outside. That bubble burst at a gas station an hour later. A flickering oasis of neon and diesel pumps off the highway. Sam pulled in to refuel, the rain now a steady drizzle. Ellie stiffened, her eyes scanning the lot like a deer sniffing for wolves. "Stay here," Sam said, grabbing his wallet. "Want anything, water chips?" She shook her head, clutching the veil tighter, but her stomach growled loud enough to betray her. Sam raised an eyebrow. "Right, I'm getting you something." He stepped out, the cold biting his knuckles, and headed for the convenience store. Inside, he grabbed a water bottle, a protein bar, and a pair of cheap flip-flops for her bare feet. At the counter, the clerk, a bored kid with a nose ring, glanced at the TV behind him. A news ticker scrolled, "Missing bride, early 20s, last seen in white dress, suspected theft of valuable property." Sam's gut twisted. He paid fast, avoiding the clerk's eyes, and hustled back to the rig. Ellie was still there, but her face was pale, her breath shallow. "You heard it, didn't you?" she whispered as Sam climbed in, passing her the food. He nodded, setting the flip-flops by her feet. "Want to tell me what's going on?" His tone was steady, not accusing, but firm. Ellie tore into the protein bar, chewing like she hadn't eaten in days, then took a long swig of water. Her eyes dropped to the veil, and after a beat, she spoke, voice low and jagged. "My name's Ellie. Today was supposed to be my wedding." Sam leaned back, waiting. She swallowed hard. "Travis, my fiancé, stood up at the altar, in front of everyone, said I was worthless, a mistake. His friends, my cousins, they laughed. I ran, tore my dress, didn't stop till my feet bled." Sam's jaw tightened, anger flaring for this girl he barely knew. "That's not the half of it," Ellie continued, her voice cracking. "Travis isn't just a jerk. He runs drugs, big money, big power." She hesitated, then unwrapped the veil, revealing a flash drive, small and black, smudged with her blood from a cut on her palm. "Last night, I couldn't sleep. I went to his office, looking for proof he was cheating. I cracked his safe, watched him use the code 100 times. Found this. Her eyes met Sam's, fierce and terrified. It's got a video, Travis killing a dealer who crossed him, plus records, names, payoffs to a sheriff, judges, cops, his whole network. I took it to turn him in. He found out, framed me for stealing jewelry. Now his crew's after me. If they get this drive or me, I'm dead. And anyone with me. Sam's hands gripped the wheel, his mind flashing to Lily, how he'd left her to face consequences alone. You're not alone now, he said, voice low but solid. Ellie's eyes searched his, looking for a lie, but found none. Before he could say more, headlights flared in the side mirror, a black SUV idling across the lot, its engine a low growl. Ellie froze, her breath hitching. That's them, she whispered. Sam's pulse spiked. He started the rig, the diesel roaring to life, and peeled out of the lot, the SUV's lights trailing like a predator's eyes. A mile down the highway, the road narrowed, and Sam spotted a glint ahead, a spiked strip stretched across the lane, barely visible in the rain. Hold on, he barked, swerving hard, the rig's tires screaming as they grazed the shoulder. The SUV fell back, but Sam's heart didn't slow. He glanced at his radio, silent now, but he knew what was coming. Sure enough, the scanner crackled. Bolo female suspect, early 20s, theft and assault, considered dangerous. Ellie's eyes widened, her voice a hiss. He's got the cops in his pocket. Sam's mind raced. Was she a fugitive or a framed kid fighting for her life? Her fear, raw and real, echoed Lily's the night he'd failed her. He tightened his grip on the wheel, the road blurring ahead. We're not stopping, he said, more to himself than her. Ellie nodded, clutching the flash drive, her resolve hardening. Sam saw Lily in that look, defiant, unbreakable. He'd let his daughter down once. He wouldn't let Ellie fall. The neon glow of the diner cut through the drizzle like a beacon, its sign buzzing open 24/7 above a row of chip booths and a jukebox humming Johnny Cash. Sam Bennett guided Ellie inside, the bell above the door jingling as heads turned. Her tattered wedding dress, caked with mud, and the oversized flannel draped over her shoulders drew stares from truckers and locals nursing coffee at the counter. Sam ignored them, his hand light on Ellie's elbow, steering her to a booth by the window. She slid in, still clutching the blood-streaked veil that hid the flash drive, her eyes scanning the room like a hunted animal. Sam sat across from her, his broad frame a quiet shield. You're safe here, he said, voice low but firm, though he wasn't sure he believed it. The memory of that spiked strip and the bolo on his scanner lingered like a bad taste. A waitress with a name tag reading Darlene sauntered over, her smile warm but curious. Rough night. What'll it be? Sam ordered 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and chocolate shakes, glancing at Ellie. Sound good? She nodded, her stomach growling loud enough to make Darlene chuckle. As the waitress walked away, Ellie's shoulders eased, the diner's warmth seeping into her. The jukebox shifted to Patsy Cline, and for a moment, the world outside the rain, the chase, the fear, felt far away. Sam leaned back, studying Ellie, her bruise, that handprint on her wrist, burned in his mind. He thought of Lily, 16 and scared, standing in a courtroom without him. He'd chosen a paycheck over her, and the guilt still clawed at him. You're holding up better than most would, he said, breaking the silence. After what you've been through, Ellie's eyes dropped to the veil, her fingers tracing its frayed edges. Doesn't feel like it, she whispered. I keep hearing his voice, Travis saying aim nothings, like it's true. Her voice cracked, and Sam's chest tightened. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. Listen to me, Ellie. I wasn't there for my kid when she needed me. Lily, she was in trouble, got caught stealing, and I picked the road but over showing up. Biggest mistake of my life. You're fighting. That's more than nothing. That's everything. Ellie looked up, her eyes searching his, a flicker of hope battling the fear. She opened her mouth to speak, but Darlene arrived with their food, the plates clattering softly. Sam pushed a shake toward Ellie. Eat. You'll need it. They dug in, the burgers greasy and perfect, The shake sweet enough to dull the edge of the night. Ellie ate like she hadn't seen food in days, and Sam let her be. The clink of forks and the diner's soft buzz, wrapping them in a fragile calm. He was halfway through his fries when Ellie spoke again, her voice steadier. You really think I can do this? Turn that drive in? Stop him. Sam nodded, wiping his hands on a napkin. You already started. Stole that drive. Kept running. That's not nothing, kid. She managed a small, broken smile, the first he'd seen, and it hit him like a sunrise. For a moment, he saw Lily in her defiant, unbreakable, even when the world tried to crush her. That moment shattered like glass. The diner's door slammed open, the bell jangling violently as three men stormed in. Travis led them, his handsome face twisted with rage, his tailored jacket out of place among the denim and grease. Two enforcers flanked him, their hands hovering near holsters, eyes cold as steel. The diner went silent, forks frozen mid-bite. Travis's gaze locked onto Ellie, a predator spotting prey. Found you, sweetheart. He sneered, his voice dripping venom. Ellie shrank back, her breath hitching, but her grip on the veil tightened. Sam stood, his 62 frame towering, planting himself between Ellie and Travis. Back off, he growled, voice low and lethal. The enforcers tensed, but Travis raised a hand, smirking. Hero type. Huh. Step aside, or you're collateral. Travis reached into his pocket, pulling out Ellie's engagement ring. It's diamond glinting, GPS chip, he said, tossing it onto the table like a taunt. You kept it. Ellie, couldn't let me go. Could you? Ellie's face flushed with shame, her hand brushing the empty spot on her finger where the ring had been. Sam's jaw clenched. This wasn't just a chase. It was personal. A twisted game. That drive, Travis said, his voice hardening, it's got my business, my life. Hand it over. Or this diner's a bloodbath. The flash drive, hidden in the veil, held a video of Travis killing a rival dealer and records of payoffs to a sheriff. Judges, cops. It could burn his empire to the ground, and he'd slaughter everyone here to keep it buried. Sam's mind raced, Lily's face flashing before him, her tears when he hadn't shown up, her silence when he'd lost her. He couldn't fail Ellie the way he'd failed his daughter. Travis stepped closer, pulling a pistol and pressing it to Ellie's temple. She gasped, trembling, but her eyes burned with defiance. Drive, now, Travis snapped. The diner's patrons watched, frozen. Darlene clutching a coffee pot like a weapon. Sam's heart pounded, every instinct screaming to fight. But a wrong move could end Ellie's life. He reached into his pocket, slow and deliberate, and pulled out his truck keys, the metal glinting under the neon. Take my rig, he said, voice steady despite the fire in his chest. It's worth $100 grand. Let her go. Go. The sacrifice his livelihood. His home hung in the air. A desperate gamble. Travis's smirk faltered, caught off guard. Ellie's eyes met Sam's, a silent understanding passing between them. She wasn't Lily, but she was someone's daughter, someone worth saving. With a sudden, feral cry, Ellie ripped the veil open, revealing the flash drive, and threw the engagement ring at Travis' face. I'm not yours anymore, she shouted, her voice raw with rage. The drive's copied, your secrets are with the FBI. It was a bluff, a wild shot in the dark, but it hit like a sledgehammer. Travis' face paled, his gun wavering. Sam seized the moment, lunging at the nearest enforcer, slamming him into a booth. The cook, a burly ex-Marine with a faded tattoo, tackled the second enforcer, pinning him to the floor. Darlene hurled the coffee pot, scalding Travis's arm. He yelped, stumbling back, as patrons surged forward, blocking the door, their voices rising in a defiant roar. Get out! Sirens wailed outside, red and blue lights flashing through the windows. Someone... Darlene, the cook had called 911. Travis' eyes darted, panic cracking his smug mask. He shoved past his pinned enforcers, bolting for the door, but the crowd held firm. A wall of ordinary people turned warriors. Ellie collapsed into the booth, sobs tearing through her. Not fear, but triumph, a weight lifting from her soul. Sam knelt beside her, his hand on her shoulder, steady as stone. "You're a damn force, kid," he said, his voice thick with pride. The diner erupted in cheers, glasses clinking, but Sam's world narrowed to Ellie's tear-streaked face. Had lost Lily to his mistakes, but tonight had stood for someone. The flash drive lay on the table, small but heavy, a key to justice. Outside, the sirens grew louder, and Sam knew the fight wasn't over, but for now, they'd won. The diner's neon buzzed faintly as the police lights pulsed outside, red and blue cutting through the rain like a heartbeat. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of spilled coffee and adrenaline. The patrons' cheers fading into hushed murmurs as cops swarmed the lot. Ellie sat slumped in the booth, her hands trembling around the flash drive, its black casing smudged with her blood. The veil lay in a heap, its bloodstains stark against the cracked vinyl. Sam Bennett stood beside her, his broad shoulders a quiet anchor, his truck keys back in his pocket, but the weight of his sacrifice still heavy in his chest. Had offered his Rega's life to save her, a choice born from the ghost of Lily's face. The daughter had failed when she needed him most. Travis was gone, his enforcers cuffed and cursing in the back of a squad car, but Sam knew this wasn't over. Not for Ellie, not for him. A cop approached, notepad in hand, but Sam waved him off, his voice gruff. "Give her a minute." Ellie's sobs had quieted, but her eyes were raw, her breath uneven. She looked up at Sam, her voice barely a whisper. "I put you in danger, all of them." She gestured to the diner Darlene, wiping down the counter with shaking hands. The cook, flexing his knuckles where he'd tackled an enforcer. The patrons, now sharing nervous glances. Sam knelt to her level, his gaze steady. "You didn't make Travis pull that gun. You fought back. That's what matters." Ellie shook her head, guilt carving lines in her face. "I should have just run, kept this drive buried." Sam's jaw tightened, thinking of Lily, how he had buried his own mistakes instead of facing them. "Running's easy," he said, standing up. "That's hard. You did the hard thing, kid." The cop returned, more insistent. But a new figure stepped into the diner, a woman in her 50s, sharp-eyed and steel-spined, her leather jacket marked with a faint badge outline. "Maria Alvarez," she said, flashing an ID that read Women's Shelter Director. "Heard the call on my scanner." "You the girl with the drive," Ellie nodded, clutching it tighter. Mariah's gaze softened, but her voice was firm. "That thing's a bomb, but it's your ticket out. Let me help." Sam sized her up, noting the way she carried herself. Ex-cop, no doubt. Someone who'd seen worse nights than this. "She's with me," he said. "Protective." Maria raised an eyebrow. "Good. She'll need you." Sam helped Ellie to her feet, her flip-flops slapping the linoleum as they followed Maria to his rigs. The flash drive went with them, a small weight with the power to topple an empire. In the cab, Ellie curled into the passenger seat, the flannel still draped over her. Maria climbed in back, her presence a quiet command. "I've got a contact at the FBI," she said, pulling out a burner phone. "Clean, not local. They'll take that drive. Make sure it hits the right hands." Ellie hesitated, her fingers tracing the drive's edges. "What if Travis' people come after me?" Mariah's eyes met hers, unflinching. "I was you once hearing from a man who thought he owned me. You've got evidence that can bury him. Use it." Ellie's breath hitched, but she nodded, handing the drive to Maria. "Do it," she said, voice steady despite the fear. Maria stepped out to make the call, leaving Sam and Ellie in the cab's dim glow. Sam glanced at Lily's photo, her smile a reminder of the court date he'd missed. The promises had broken. "You did good back there," he told Ellie, his voice rough with emotion, bluffing like that gutsy. Ellie managed a faint smile, but it crumbled. "I'm still scared, Sam, of him, of what's next." Sam leaned back, his own fears clawing at him. Lily's silence, the years he couldn't take back. "I know scared," he said. "Left my kid to face trouble alone once. Thought I wasn't worth forgiving. But you're worth it. Ellie, don't let him make you think otherwise." Maria returned, her face grim but satisfied. "FBI sending someone. That drive's gonna light a fire under Travis' whole network, Sheriff. Judges, the works. Ellie exhaled, a weight lifting, but her eyes stayed haunted. Maria studied her, then softened. You've got a place at my shelter. Job, bed, classes if you want 'em. You're not starting from zero. Ellie's eyes widened, hope flickering. I used to study social work, she said, almost to herself. Wanted to help kids like Miones who feel invisible. Maria nodded. Then start there. Help them. Help yourself. Sam listened, his mind on Lily. He'd failed her. But Ellie's fight was waking something in him, a need to try again. He pulled out a worn notebook from the glove box, scrawled a letter to Lily. I messed up. Kid, missed your court date. Missed you. I'm trying to be better. I love you. He tucked it away, promising himself he'd mail it. To Ellie, he handed a new journal, bought at the gas station. Write your story, he said, voice thick. The real one, not his. Ellie took it, her fingers brushing his, and whispered, thanks, Sam, for everything. Maria led Ellie to her car, but not before Ellie turned back, hugging Sam fierce and quick. You're not what he said I was, she told him, echoing his words. Sam's throat tightened, Lily's face in his mind. Neither are you, kid. As Mariah's car pulled away, Sam climbed into his rig. The night quieter now, the rain a soft patter. He glanced at Lily's photo, then the empty seat where Ellie had sat. The flash drive was gone, but its fight wasn't. Neither was his. Over the next weeks, Sam called in favors from his trucker buddies guys who'd hauled with him for years. They sent clothes, books, a used laptop for Ellie's studies. Maria kept him updated. Ellie was mentoring teens at the shelter, her voice stronger each day. She'd enrolled in night classes, chasing that social work dream. Sam stopped by me when his routes allowed, sharing fries and stories. Their bond, a quiet, steady thing. He mailed Lily's letter, his heart pounding with hope and fear. The road stretched ahead, but for the first time in years, Sam felt like he was driving towards something, maybe forgiveness, maybe home. 2 years later, the Nebraska sun burned bright, painting the shelter's parking lot in golden hues as Sam Bennett's rig rumbled to a stop. The building was alive with celebrations. String lights twinkled, balloons bobbed, and laughter spilled from an open house event for Second Roads, Ellie's youth program. Sam climbed down from the cab, his boots crunching gravel, a nervous hope flickering in his chest. He'd been here before, dropping off supplies or sharing fries with Ellie, but today felt different. The weight of Lily's silence still lingered, though he'd mailed that letter a year ago, pouring out his regret for missing her shoplifting court date, for choosing the road over her. No reply, but he hadn't stopped hoping. The photo on his dash, Lily at 10, all smiles, was now joined by one of him and Ellie, snapped at the diner that night when everything changed. Ellie strode out, no longer the shivering girl in a tattered wedding dress, but a confident 25-year-old in a navy blazer, her hair pulled back in a neat braid. Her smile was wide, her eyes bright with a fire Sam hadn't seen that first night. Sam, she called, running to him, her hug fierce and unhesitating. You made it. Sam chuckled, his gruff exterior cracking. Wouldn't miss it. Kid. She pulled back, beaming, and led him inside. The shelter buzzed with teens, their chatter mingling with the smell of fresh coffee and cupcakes. Ellie's office was a testament to her work walls lined with thank you notes, photos of kids she'd mentored, and a framed picture of the diner, a reminder of the night she'd reclaimed her life. This is Second Roads, she said, pride in her voice. For kids who think they're stuck, like I was. Sam's throat tightened, thinking of the flash drive, that small black key that had unlocked so much. Ellie had handed it to Maria, who'd sent it to the FBI. The fallout was seismic. Travis was serving life in prison, his drug empire gutted, but Ellie hadn't stopped there. I've got something to show you, she said, her eyes glinting with mischief. She led him to a quiet corner, pulling a tablet from her bag. A news article loaded, headline bold, corrupt sheriff ousted in small town, Sting. Ellie's voice dropped, conspiratorial. That drive had names, Travis, but also the sheriff who covered for him. I sent an anonymous tip to a journalist, got the ball rolling, Town's cleaning house now? Sam blinked, stunned. You did that? Ellie grinned. A spark of the girl who'd bluffed Travis into fleeing. Couldn't let them win. Before Sam could respond, Ellie's expression shifted, soft but serious. There's one more thing. She stepped aside, and a young woman emerged from the crowd tall, with familiar brown eyes and a shy smile. Sam's breath caught. Lily, he whispered, his voice breaking. His daughter, now 21, nodded, tears brimming. Ellie found me, she said, voice trembling. Sent me your letter. Told me what you did for her. Sam's eyes darted to Ellie, who shrugged, a playful glint hiding her emotion. Social media is good for something, she said. Figured you two deserved a second road. Lily stepped forward, clutching a crumpled letter. Sam's words, the ones he'd written in the rig. You didn't give up on her, Lily said, her voice thick. And you didn't give up on me. I'm sorry I pushed you away. Sam pulled her into a hug, his arms shaking, tears burning his eyes. I'm the one who's sorry. Kid, I'm here now. Ellie watched, her own eyes misty, then slipped away to greet her teens, giving Sam and Lily their moment. The shelter hummed with life. Second Road's a beacon for kids like Ellie once was. Travis Network was dust. The sheriff gone, the town healing. Sam's rig, parked outside, now sported a Second Road sticker, a quiet badge of pride. He looked at Lily, then at Ellie across the room, surrounded by kids who saw her as a hero. The narrator's voice closed, warm and steady. Some roads break you, others make you whole. Sam and Ellie chose the second kind. Sam climbed back into his rig that evening. Lily's new number in his phone, Ellie's journal on the seat. The highway stretched ahead, but for the first time, it felt like home. This story hits like a freight train to the chest. Sam and Ellie. They're not caped crusaders, they're us, scarred and stubborn, clawing for redemption on roads that tried to break them. Sam, carrying the guilt of leaving Lily alone in that courtroom, found a piece of himself by standing up for Ellie. And Ellie, with that flash drive she snatched from Travis' safe, turned her pain into a weapon, toppling a corrupt empire that hunted her down. That diner showdown, the way they faced Travis' gun and his lies, it's a reminder that courage isn't loud. It's the quiet choice to fight when you're scared spitless. What gets me is how one stranger's kindness can ripple, saving a life, rebuilding a town, even mending a father's heart. Who's been that stranger for you? Someone who showed up when the world didn't tell me I'm all ears. If Sam and Ellie's fight lit a spark in you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of grit and comeback. Drop your city in the comments. Where you watching from? Share this tale and keep the fire burning. Let's roll down these roads together.